Singapore to India, part of a holiday from Imagine Cruising. We sailed at first a fortnight from Singapore to India. I must warn you, I took videos. This is how it happened. You're going to see it warts and all. Never guess where I am this time. This is Abu Dhabi, but it's the airport, and I'm about on my way, waiting for a flight to Singapore, and the next month is going to be absolutely amazing. Sorry about the eyes, but it's been a long flight. Well, what do you know? I'm finally arrived in Singapore after 2 days of traveling. Wow! And of course, the first thing you do is find an Irish bar. So here I am in. You can hear me above the nose. It's Muddy Murphy's. Last time I was here was about 25 years ago, I'm sure, but it's still the same. Well, this is Singapore and Lau Prasad. I always come here because the satays here are just absolutely amazing. Just have a look at this. Yeah. So, because it's raining, there's no way we're sitting outside. So it's time to go inside. I've ordered the satays, and as you can see, once you get inside here, it is crazy. This is Satay Street. Here we go. It's not the leaving of Singapore that grieves me, my darling, when I think thee. So fare thee well, my true love, and when I return, united we will be. It's not the leaving of Singapore that grieves me, but my darling, when I think the adventure begins, and we're about to leave Singapore in the distance, and who knows where we will end up next. Well, this is our first day in Malaysia at Port Klang, and quite frankly, totally unmissable. Well, no, not really, bloody missable. Well, that was the shortest trip ever. We've just been to Port Klang. Dirty, smelly. Well, I should come with video clips, but no point in staying. Oh my God, it was terrible. Jimmy, here we are in Malaysia. Oh my God, I've got a pina colada with, I did say put plenty rum in, and there's more than plenty rum. Anyway, Port Klang, here we are in Malaysia. Decided not to go on the ship's tours to Kuala Lumpur. Been there before, and it's just Gotham City, really, just high rise. So we decided to get the shuttle into the Port Klang itself, and it wasn't good. It was really, well, I'll show you a couple of videos, you'll see for yourself. Well, this is Port Klang, Malaysia, where we have got dropped off, decided against going to Kuala Lumpur. Well, this is a wonderful Port Klang. Been to some shitty places, but there's a guy getting fish. Just don't fancy that restaurant. So we decided after 10 minutes to get back on the bus, back on the ship, and when all else fails, you ask for a pina colada with plenty of rum, and that's what we've got. So tomorrow it's Penang. Now really looking forward to Penang, and we've got a day and a half there, so it should be really exciting. So anyway, chilling out for now, and looking forward to Penang tomorrow. That's good. That's really good. Well, this is, I think, I lost count of the days. I think this is day 5, and our ship has arrived in Thailand, in Phuket, and we've just been tended ashore. And it's time for a lazy beer and perhaps looking around the shops. See you later. What a crazy day yesterday. Everything going smoothly. The Indian visa was a nightmare to achieve beforehand. Absolute stupid bureaucracy. Um, we had to submit photos 3 times of passports, twice rejected, and then the third time the same passport photo was accepted. Absolutely mental. But yesterday we got a note on our cabin to say that um, we needed another form for the Sri Lankan visa. No, for the Indian visa with a photo on. Otherwise, we would be refused entry and we'd have to leave the ship in Sri Lanka and fly home. Crazy, and loads of people got exactly the same letter. Um, it got sorted out, but Indian bureaucracy is absolutely mind-bogglingly stupid. That they make our governments almost seem competent. Crazy. But it's sorted out, so we should be okay. Hopefully. This is the second day of our tour. We're actually in Malaysia and at the floating mosque, and behind me you can probably see the beach, and looks like a great day. We've already been to the butterfly farm and hopefully going to the snake temple next. Well, just have a look at this. This is the Luxurious temple in Penang, Malaysia, and it's huge. Isn't this amazing? This is Penang, and we're about to go and see the reclining Buddha, or sleeping Buddha, as we probably would say. Anyway, just have a look at the sheer magnificence of it. Yes. Yeah, I think I'll go inside. Yes, you know you're in the Far East when you see cultures like this. It was quite amazing behind the sleeping Buddha to see all the casks with the ashes of thousands of people. It's different. Hi, here we go again. Here I've got some more forms to fill in for the Indian immigration. Honestly, I've never been to India before, but after this experience, there is absolutely very little chance of ever entertaining coming again. I mean, heavens above, the first application was rejected. Twice I sent photographs, scanned photographs of the passport, which they said weren't clear. Rejected. Celebrity Cruises suggested that I pay for another application online and submit that. Submitted the same damn photograph and passed inside 24 hours. It's just ridiculous. But today, following 2 days ago, when we got a letter saying unless we filled and got additional forms, we could be kicked off the ship before we got to India because it was illegal. Now, this afternoon, the whole ship, over 2 days, has got to have a face-to-face interview with immigration officers to be fingerprinted and interviewed. My interview is set for 3:30 this afternoon, and I've got to fill in the form again, which has got all the information they've bloody got in triplicate anyway. It's unbelievable bureaucracy for the sake of it. Honestly, the Indian government seems so incompetent, it actually makes Starmer's government appear almost as though they know what they're doing. And my God, that is some kind of statement to make. So anyway, let's fill in the form. Oh, they need flight number, address in India. Here we go again. Anyway, I think to be on the safe side, I'm going to wait until I post this video after I bloody left the country, because I don't trust bureaucracy. Not in England, and certainly not in the UK. So, let's press on anyway. See you later. Ever thought of a cruise to India? Take my advice, bloody forget it. The bureaucracy is just ridiculous. On our cruise ship, they sent 5 officers on board in Thailand, Indian immigration officers, and the whole of the ship has had to line up to be fingerprinted and approved, even though everyone has a visa for India. So yesterday we spent 3 hours in a line waiting to be fingerprinted to be approved to get into India. Quite frankly, ain't coming back. It's just absolutely mental. Anyway, having a glass of wine, chilling out. All the world's delightful. Last, we've landed in Sri Lanka. This is Hambantota, which the port is in the middle of nowhere, but we've got a great taxi driver to take us to town, and it's good to practice, so it works out okay. Oh, look at the bang!
The dogs are everywhere.
Oh, thank you. Oh.
Cargill's Food City supermarket. If you need some groceries or like
we don't need groceries. No.
Yeah. So what do you expect to buy?
Padlocks.
All right. So there are a few hardware stores.
Yeah.
I can take you to there. Okay. For that type of padlock, it costs maybe few hundred rupees. Not a
And remind me of your name again, Tim?
Chimtaka.
Chimtaka, right, I remember that. Well, here we are back on the ship in Sri Lanka. We've been in the town of Hambantota, and we had good fun, but just absolutely nothing there. So anyway, I decided to have a small snack before our meal tonight, and let's hope tomorrow's stop at the capital of Sri Lanka is a little bit better. So, catch up with you later. These are good. Well, here we are finally arriving in India, But just have a look at this. Another secondary immigration inspection. Just let me, if you ever go on a cruise to India, be aware that the Indian visa is not the best in the world. We had to submit 3 applications. They said that the photograph for the passport wasn't clear. It was scanned and resent. It was refused, so we reapplied again with exactly the same bloody photograph, and it got passed. Then when we boarded the ship in Singapore, we had to have the acceptance papers for India shown. We agreed. And then when we got to Thailand, the Indian officers came on board and everybody had to line up on the ship, and we waited 3 hours for an interview to get a piece of paper stamped to allow us to enter. And now that we're arriving in India, we need a secondary inspection, and everybody has to get off the ship, and even if they don't want to go ashore, they must go and have a secondary inspection. It's a nightmare. Maybe the British taught them bureaucracy so much, but there again, look at our British government, what can you expect? Anyway, India, hopefully. This is how the Indian immigration is really pissed everybody off today. We had to go through immigration, stand in queue for 3 hours 2 days ago to get fingerprinted. Now we arrive in Cochin, India, thunderstorms, rain all day, and now the whole ship has to disembark and go through immigration again. And look, this is a queue of everybody going in the sudden building. And worst of all, we can't get back on the ship until the very last person has been checked by the immigration authorities. Absolutely mental. Don't know what the hell they think of doing. Start again. Well, here we go. 4 hours later, all the passengers have been through. We've had our visa papers checked about 10 times, stamped, and then we had to wait in the bloody pouring rain for hours. And now finally, we're allowed back on the ship. What a country. You can swell. With the greatest of respect, if you're thinking of taking a cruise to India, just remember you've got to go through this shambles. Everybody is totally pissed off today. Sri Lanka, or Ceylon as it used to be called in old money, and this is a temple on the river, which you can probably see. I've just had to take my hat off for whatever reason, but it doesn't like people wearing hats. But this is quite something. I'll show you some more shots. Here we are in Sri Lanka. From a tuk-tuk going into town. I'll just quickly show you this. Here we go.
Take us to the
I
city.
tell me sir, you are here. If I were you, I would just go. Okay, no problem, no problem. Right, no problem. Leave me alone. We actually paid £18.
Honestly,
I realised-
bloody rip-off merchants.
I
We
re-
didn't ask them to take us.
Well, I'm at the port gates in Colombo, Sri Lanka.
Thank God.
We've just had a bloody blazing row. Hang on, I'll turn this around the other way. Hi. Sunday, 1st of December, Colombo, Sri Lanka, or Ceylon as it was called in old money. And we bought the souvenir of a green tuk-tuk that we rode in. Quite a story. We negotiated a price for the tuk-tuk for an hour around the town. We wanted to be dropped off at the tourist market. Halfway through, we were told, being a Sunday, the market was closed. That's probably his trick in the book. He insisted on taking us to a jewellery store. He says, we are not interested in any jewellery, we will not buy anything. He dropped us off at the jewellery store, we walked out, got in the tuk-tuk, and when he realised he wasn't getting a commission there, he dropped us off at the shopping arcade and said, this is the shopping centre we wanted, the Privar shopping centre. It was actually 2 miles away from town. And then the argument started. He said, he claimed we agreed a figure 10 times more than we'd agreed. Big mistake, I should have videoed him when he was giving the figure. So I had a blazing argument. He ended up with 3 times the figure, and it was only when I insisted that I was making an official complaint to the tourist board and the police. He showed me a tourist board pass on behalf of the government. I reckon that was fake. Anyway, long story short, we had a blazing row. He certainly didn't get as much as he wanted. And after that, the other tuk-tuks we got back, we agreed a price. I videoed them and then took a picture of the number plate of the car, and we had no problem after that. So if you ever go to Sri Lanka again, if you're going to cruise ship, for God's sake, beware of these bloody sharks at the gate. I would suggest take a video of them, take a photograph of the number plate, agree a price, and just be absolutely firm. But anyway, back on board the ship, glass of wine, what the hell, so onwards, upwards, and Indian. And that is another story. The immigration is horrendous. But I'll talk about that later. See you later. Bye. Well, here we are finally arriving in India. But just have a look at this. Another secondary immigration inspection. Just let me, if you ever go on a cruise to India, be aware that the Indian visa is not the best in the world. We had to submit 3 applications. They said that the photograph for the passport wasn't clear. It was scanned and resent. It was refused, so we reapplied again with exactly the same bloody photograph, and it got passed. Then when we boarded the ship to Singapore, we had to have the acceptance papers for India shown. We agreed. And then when we got to Thailand, the Indian officers came on board and everybody had to line up on the ship, and we waited 3 hours for an interview to get a piece of paper stamped to allow us to enter. And now that we're arriving in India, we need a secondary inspection, and everybody has to get off the ship, and even if they don't want to go ashore, they must go and have a secondary inspection. It's a nightmare. Maybe the British taught them bureaucracy so much, but there again, look at our British government, what can you expect? Anyway, India, hopefully This is how the Indian immigration is really pissed everybody off today. We had to go through immigration, stand in the queue for 3 hours 2 days ago to get fingerprinted. Now we arrive in Cochin, India. Thunderstorms, rain all day, and now the whole ship has to disembark and go through immigration again. And look, this is a queue of everybody going in the sudden building. And worst of all, we can't get back on the ship until the very last person has been checked by the immigration authorities. Absolutely mental. Don't know what the hell they think of doing. Start again. Well, here we go. 4 hours later, all the passengers have been through. We've had our visa papers checked about 10 times, stamped, and then we had to wait the bloody pouring rain for hours. And now finally, we're allowed back on the ship. What a country. It's, well, with the greatest of respect, if you're thinking of taking a cruise to India, just remember you've got to go through this shambles. Everybody is totally pissed off today. Right, here we are in Cochin, India, and this is my guide for the day, who's promises we're going to have the best trip ever, and we've agreed a price of $20 each, or the Indian rupee equivalent. And can you tell us where you're going to take us?
Then I will show you.
Oh, that's even better.
So my name is Saiju. Then I will
Say
show
it
you-
again, said you?
Saiju.
Yeah, okay.
And I will show you the sightseeing. This is the two direction.
Yeah,
Fort Kochi and Matanjiri. You are here.
yeah.
Then I will show you the Fort Kochi and Matanjiri. All places I will show
Yeah.
you. 2 5 hours, 6 hours.
Yeah, and we'll go on a boat where...
Then another one. This one.
Right.
This is a small boat surrounding 1 hour 20 minutes.
Yeah,
The mangrove forest.
great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So many birds are here. If you are lucky, so many birds are here. Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, finally, here we are in Cochin. Sun's shining today. We've got rid of that bloody awful queue at immigration, and I'm here at Cochin on the river, and we're about to get on a boat ride through the mangroves swamps. So this gives you some idea of the area. This is our driver, Amish, and he's taken us along the, if you can hear us looking over there. He's taken us on a cruise down the river. Up to now is fascinating. This is the selfie. This is the biggest selfie I've taken that I've ever about 12. Yeah.
Very interesting.
So this is a
Yeah.
bit of the bloody weight of immigration yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah. This is the mangrove swamp here. Wow. It only goes with salty water. This is deep into the mangrove swamp now.
Mangrove forest.
Yeah. Well, here we are approaching the mangrove forest, or alongside the mangrove forest. And you can see the mangrove stretched along that. Yeah. How does that not? How did these wheels not? This is our treat. Our driver's buying us a temple coconut. Ah, thank you.
It's lovely.
Go on.
I'm scooping. It's slippy. It's slippy.
Well, this is Goa. We've come ashore from the ship, as you can see, and quite frankly, just nothing. The Scottish couple beside us were quoted $40 each way to go to a beach which is 6 miles away. There's no shops, there's nothing nearby, and we've only got 5 hours in port, so I guess the safest thing is just to head back to the beach. God, I wish this was the Caribbean, at least there's some place to go to. Welcome to Goa, and there's nothing there, and there's, quite frankly, there's nothing for us. So it's back on the ship. Well, here we are on Goa in India, and with probably the shortest shore excursion we've ever had, which has lasted over about 15 minutes. Don't think I'll ever even consider a Far East cruise, because you go into big ports. In the case of Goa, absolutely nothing outside except taxi drivers trying to rip you off for $80 for a 6 mile drive. No shops, nothing at all. You're in the middle of nowhere in an industrial port. At least if you go elsewhere, places like the Caribbean, as soon as you get off the ship, there's places to go. In the Far East, you end up in big industrial ports, just miles away from. Anyway, so all things being equal, I think any thoughts. If anyone ever asked me, "Do you want to go on a Far East cruise?" I'd say, forget it. Fly there, maybe that's okay, but certainly not on a cruise, because our experience is that once you go ashore, your list of excursions is extremely limited. So, anyway, that's Goa, which our visit lasted 15 minutes. We went in and out, but the bloody immigration is unbelievable. The number of times we've had to show our immigration form. You show your immigration form, which is stamped before you can get into the building. It's checked again. The immigration officer scans it, stamps it, and then immediately after, there's a soldier at the door before you go out, checking that it actually has got a stamp, which he's seen you just get on the piece of paper. And then a few yards outside the building, there's another policeman who wants to see it. And if you want to get near the port gates, someone else also has to inspect it. And it's exactly the same on the way back. You must, to get in and off the ship, we had to have our paperwork inspected at least a dozen times. Absolutely crazy. Indian bureaucracy is absolutely stupid. But anyway, time to relax on the ship. Enjoy the sunshine in Goa from a cruise ship. Catch you later. Well, this is Mumbai. You can see some kind of historic building behind me. And to tell the truth, wandering a little bit aimlessly, because we've got a day to fill in Mumbai. And then today is the end of the cruise, and we leave the ship tomorrow and hopefully catch the flight to Delhi for the next part of the adventure. So here's looking forward to India and the Golden Triangle. I'd like to say this is a taxi we took in Mumbai, but sadly it wasn't. But it really is a nice car. Hi. Well, here we are back on board ship after wandering around Mumbai, which, apart from a very pleasant hour in Starbucks, was probably quite forgettable. But let's recap on the holiday so far. Singapore is Singapore, absolutely magical, so it's a great place to leave from. Now, where did we stop next? Malaysia, Port Klang. Horrible place. We didn't bother going to KL. I've been there before. Don't want to spend an hour and a half in the coach going to KL or Gotham City. But Port Klang, we ventured ashore, and oh man, it's absolutely decrepit. Then we went to Penang, lovely place. Spent a day and a half there, wandered around the island. Really like Penang. After that, Sri Lanka, absolutely forgettable. Haban Toda, nice enough young taxi driver, very friendly, but an absolute backwater of a town when we actually got there. We asked to go to the best bar or restaurant for a drink, and that was probably the best thing. Totally decrepit. After that, oh my God, Cochin. Highlight was probably when we were in Thailand and Phuket. Fortunately, in Phuket. It was Penang, so we knew the area. Went to Bangla. Had a really nice day in Phuket. The downsides were immigration. We, we queued for 3 hours on board ship, where the whole ship had to be fingerprinted at sea, and that was a nightmare. We stood for 3 hours in a line just to get a darn photos printed and a stamp on the form. And lo and behold, when we actually got into Cochin in India, it was ridiculous. In a thunderstorm, we had to go out, and the whole ship had to go through immigration again before anyone could be allowed back on. Absolute nightmare. Cochin itself, we had a lovely, tour around the old town. Not up to much, but certainly the hour going through the mangrove forest in a speedboat was quite interesting. And as far as Goa was concerned, we only had 6 hours in Goa, and they wanted $80 to drive. Well, this is Goa. We've come ashore from the ship, as you can see, and quite frankly, just nothing. The Scottish couple beside us were quoted $40 each way to go to a beach which is 6 miles away. There's no shops, there's nothing nearby, and we've only got 5 hours in port, so I guess the safest thing is just to head back to the beach. God, I wish this was the Caribbean. At least it's 6 miles to the nearest beach, so we didn't bother. So literally, we walked to the gates, absolutely nothing at the dock gates in Goa, and came back. And Mumbai, yes, it was only 10 minutes walk from the dock gates into the center of Mumbai, busy industrial, and as you can see behind me, a huge amount of smog. Moral of the story is, been very interesting. If I ever came back to the Far East, I would never consider a cruise, because in the main, the ports you get taken to are big industrial ports and nowhere near any of the sightseeing places. Whereas if you go to the Caribbean, into Europe, you're straight into the nearest town. So interesting, but really looking forward to the escorted tour for the next fortnight around the rest of India. So that's the recap so far. So marks out of 10 for the ships, the friendliness, the attitude of the officers. Absolute Celebrity Millennium, 5 plus out of 5. For the destinations, 2 of them half decent, so at best maybe 2 out of 5 for destinations. So moral of the story is, come to the Far East, fly in. If you want a cruise, go somewhere else. It's not the best way to see the Far East. Anyway, so on that, it's time just to savor a nice drink, relax, and start packing for tomorrow. My God. Got to be off the ship by 7 o'clock in the morning. Can you imagine at my age, getting up at 6 o'clock? Oh my God. I think I need another drink. Catch you later.